Thank you. Now, I've got just half an hour to talk to you this afternoon. So what I have done is, from talking to people, can everybody hear me first? Is this working?
Yes.
Okay? Great. I've been talking to a lot of people during the lunch breaks and coffee breaks here, and I've been listening to what you wanted to hear and what specific areas you wanted to cover. So I'm going to focus on two of those areas that a lot of people have asked me about. I know that Boris, in his presentation coming up, is going to talk a lot about search and advertising, which a lot of people have asked about. So what I'm going to focus on is taking things a little back to basics, because I think when you're very much in your early stages of growth as an industry here, before we really start talking about search optimization and advertising driving traffic to your site, that we make sure we actually have our sites in order, and we have websites that are ready to receive this traffic, and that we actually have quality websites that are able to start working for you. So I'm going to have a bit of a tourism focus once again, as that's my area, and I'll give a few examples from Africa once again, but I'll try and make it as local as possible. So I'm going to talk quickly about websites, and take you through a few important points about your website, what it should be able to do, if you need to change it, how you can do that. And then I'm going to run very quickly through content at the end. And particularly, this is another question a lot of people have asked me. We're always talking about user-generated content, how important it is to have that, the great reviews about your property, to have the photos on Flickr, to have the videos on YouTube. But what happens if nobody's generating that content? If your users aren't producing the content out there about you? So we should have some ways to actually encourage the users to start generating that content for you so that you can use it. The first websites are now what I call the generation gap, which is that getting them to start generating the content. So focusing on websites. A good and effective website is one that serves the purpose. So it gives the users what they want. There is a reason they're coming to your website. To find out about your business, or to actually do business with you. So you need a website that actually serves that purpose and gives them what they're looking for. It doesn't just send them to a dead end. If they want to get in contact with you, it shouldn't be a site that has a lot of information about you, but nowhere to reach you. If it's a website that people want to come and make a booking or buy something, they should be able to do that, as I said in yesterday's presentation, in real time, or else you're just frustrated, particularly when you're dealing with those online shoppers I talked about yesterday. They expect to be able to see the inventory, book and pay for it in real time. So it doesn't frustrate them in their website experience. Ideally, as we talked about yesterday, it needs to convert to a sale, because that's what it's all about. It should remember its users. So they should have a way for those people to be able to register with you or request more information from you, so that you start building that relationship, so that you can send them the information they want and also remember them when they come back, so they're registered with the website. So good websites are driven by content, and I think enough of us have talked about content, but you know what I mean when I say that. It's got the right mix of content, both practical and inspirational. What I mean by that is that you should have sight in your content that is inspirational. So if you're talking about a hotel, you're talking about an attraction, it's what makes people want to come and visit you or be with you. So it's often the more romantic stuff, it's the great images, the great videos, the stuff that's going to hook them in and make them want to consume your product. But once they're in there and they're making that decision, you have to give them practical information. How do I book? What's the room going to be like? Can I bring my children? What sort of meals can I get? And that has to be different information. You're not going to continue the same theme of over-the-top, flowery language when you're doing that stuff. So you have to divide when you're designing your site what sort of content it is, so it's practical and inspirational. You should have the 3 easies. It should be easy to find through a search engine. It should be easy to access when they get there. It should be able to load quickly and easily, and it should be easy to use. It should have fairly standardized navigation. A lot of people do make mistakes of trying to get overly creative with their websites. You see this again and again. And they load it up with so much flash animation and heavy files that it either takes forever to open, or once the person gets in, if they don't have flash on their computer, they can't even open your website. Or the navigation is so strange and the menus are in such odd places that they spend minutes just trying to find where they're supposed to click. And that really, from a lot of research they've done, can frustrate users and drive them away. Should be an interactive experience. Shouldn't just be an online version of your brochure. A deadly mistake people make is just taking their old brochure they used to use and converting it into a website. Here's the page about our rooms, here's the page about our tours, here's a bit, and a single menu, and that's it. It should be interactive, which means if they go into the page about your rooms, they should be able to see from the same page, okay, while you're staying there, you can see a view of this area. If you'd like to visit it and organize a tour, click here. If you'd like to know what sort of meals you can have served in your room, click here to go to our cuisine page. So the pattern and layout of your site should not just be a series of static pages underneath a single menu, but a whole interactive experience that they can move through the site. Should integrate all those Web 2.0 things we've talked about. You saw that in the example I gave yesterday, how you integrate all that content into your site from your users. Add value from third-party services. I'll give you some examples of that later. And this is really critical. It has to be credible, and it has to be frequently and accurately updated. I'm going to take you to some examples of that. So now most of you probably do have a basic website in some form. So these are questions that a lot of people will ask me during these workshops is, do I need to change my website? Do I need to upgrade or improve my website? I always say you need to ask yourself these critical questions to make that decision about whether you need to change your website. Firstly, ask yourself, has your website grown substantially in size over the past year? The answer to this question should be yes. Websites should grow continually. It shouldn't be a static presence that you just set up with some set information and leave it to sit and serve you forever. You should be continually updating and adding new information and features to that site. Year on year, there should be substantial growth in your website. Is at least 25% of the content of the site related to current specific specific events, offers, or new products? So is there stuff on your website, and it should be about 25% of the content that relates to things that are happening right now. Festivals that are happening, things you're involved in. If you're a hotel, special offers and promotions you have that may be seasonal or tied into a local holiday. Because when people see that, it becomes more real, it becomes more up to date, and it becomes a lot more credible. Can your content be shared, sent, published elsewhere on other websites, media, and social networks, as we talked about? Can people take information from your site and share it out to those networks? We saw examples yesterday of what happens if people do that and how effective it can be. Don't block them from being able to do that. Don't have photos that they can't download from your site, and be protective about them. If you do have photographs on your site, make sure that they're optimized correctly for your website and not huge files that people have to download. Give them the option to download a low-resolution image. Make sure the name of the image is the name of what the picture is. That will help you when people talk about search, how important that is, that they can actually identify that picture by its name, and it's not just a bunch of code and numbers. Does each page of your site have a specific objective or purpose, and does it drive the user towards a decision, action, or sale? Think about that when you construct each page. What's the point of this page? Why is someone coming to this page? What do they want from it, and how can I help them to achieve that? Is the content on your site not just one size fits for all? Do you have different content for different people? You may not be selling to the same audience over and over again. Your business may have lots of different customer groups. Do you have different information there for those people? You may sell to budget travelers, moderate travelers, and top-end travelers. Those people want to see different things. They want to be approached in different ways. So think about, from your menus, who's going to be clicking on which section they're opening it, and what is the appropriate content for them. Is all the content on your site appealing, easy to use, and up to date? We're going to see some examples of stuff that is easy. Critically, do you know how many people are using the site? Not just visiting the site, but actually using the site. Do you know how many people are coming into it every month? How many people are registering for your site for more information? Which pages are they visiting? Which pages aren't they visiting? Which is critical. That will tell you which parts of your site they like and use, and the parts that they don't like. So when you get your analyzed statistics for your website, look very carefully and try and establish a pattern of how people are using the site. If the most popular way of leaving your website is not through your booking page or your sales page, then something's wrong. If the most popular route out of your site is the back key, and you can see that in analyzed statistics, if they're hitting that back key to get out, it means they can't understand your website or find their way through it, or they're not finding what they're looking for, so they're just backing out of your website. So use your statistics strategically. So in terms of getting started, if you're setting up your website, a common question again we get asked is, what should I call it? Should it be a .com? Should it be a .org? Should it be a .travel? Should it be a country-specific code? What's the code for Lebanon? Should it be an LB? Should it be a pound? Generally speaking, .com is very much the top dog, particularly when it comes to search. You're always going to get better search results and have much more likelihood of being found by a search engine if you're .com. It's just a fact, because they're the most popular sites. .orgs are generally used by organizations, NGOs, that kind of thing. .travel is a huge area of debate going on in the travel industry at the moment. Are you familiar with .travel? This was basically created